From dizzy heights to deep valleys, the road of tea and horses twists and turns between the Yunnan mountains, whose fortune has depended on it throughout the centuries. Through the heart of this tempest of granite flow the jade-coloured waters of the river Yangtze. It is perhaps these waters which convinced man to settle in this horizonless landscape. Waters which spread from the mountains out across China and which, coming from the high Tibetan plateaus, represent a major economic asset for Peking's rulers. It is here, nestling in the secret peaks which mark the beginning of the Himalayas, that the greatest number of non-Chinese ethnic minorities have been able to preserve their culture and their identity through the centuries. They have even prospered here, as here they have not been persecuted by enemies, and even at these high altitudes, the red soil has always been productive. When the sun finally manages to clear these crests, the lovers of Lake Lugu have to part. That is the rule of the Mosuos, who have populated these banks for more than 1,000 years. They can only meet up again after sunset, because here marriage doesn't exist, or at least not the way people see it everywhere else. This custom is the legacy of the mountains, passed down to the 3,000 souls who make up one of the very last societies in which the men live with their mothers along with their brothers and sisters. A matriarchal and matrilineal society in which it is the women who pass on their name to their children. Sheng was born beside Lake Lugu. Just a few decades ago, no roads reached these tranquil shores, and the Mosuos were free to enjoy this love, which, a long time ago, they baptized casual marriage. Perfectly adapted to the way of life of men who left for weeks at a time to convey the horses which they raised to the valleys of the south, where they could stock up on salt, tea, and rice, the three essential commodities which the lake has never been able to supply. In the age of internet and globalization, like the majority of young Mosuos, Sheng must wonder about the future of this practice, excluded from the precepts of Peking. Personally, as a Mosuo, I prefer casual marriage because I think it's preferable not to live in the same place as your mistress. Casual marriage allows you to be in love all your life. By practicing casual marriage, I stay with my brothers and sisters, my mother and my grandmother, and I need that for my stability. We're together and no one criticizes anyone. We live among people of the same blood all our lives, and I think that blood is the most important thing of all. Gunmu, the mother mountain, ensures the protection of the Mosuo people. For the Mosuos, women are a lot more than mistresses. They are the ones in charge of their family, their clan. The eldest of each clan, the Daboo, watches over everything. Her first obligation is to pray every day for her family. The Daboo thus combines the responsibilities of spiritual leader, manager of the family's affairs, and guardian of the sleep of the ancestors' souls, who are reborn with new family members. In this way, among the Mosuos, the same blood has flowed through the veins of the clan members since the dawn of time. Sheng lives in the village of Lugsan. His clan house accommodates his brother Yam and their 5 sisters. The members of the family are not obliged to, but spontaneously carry out the tasks necessary for their common good. The Daboo only intervenes in important decisions. The rest of the time, everyone is responsible for themselves. The Mosuo people depend heavily on wood. At an altitude of 2,700 meters, Lake Lugu has a harsh climate, which necessitates permanent heating of the clan house, even in summer. When the horses are being used for other tasks, they have to climb the hills on foot, where wood is becoming more and more scarce and has to be gathered higher and higher up. Here we are at a latitude 30 degrees north, which means the pine trees grow up to an altitude of almost 3,500 meters. But they have been cut for 1,000 years to provide fuel and wood for construction, and up till now, no reforestation program has been implemented to guarantee their renewal. The lovers of Lake Lugu spend a good many of their days getting out of breath tackling the slopes. The women occupy the center of the Mosuo social organization and, from childhood, spend most of their time among sisters. Quarrels are rare, and the love which binds the siblings is such that no other would be able to replace it. It is because they know how to love so well that the lovers of Lake Lugu don't feel the need to live together. While the lifestyle of the ethnic minorities of the Yunnan mountains has been preserved, they have never lived in reclusion, and as regards religion, have undergone the influence of Tibetan Lamaism combined with the traditional Buddhism of the Han Chinese settled in the area, and their beliefs linked to the splendour of the place. All of which has resulted in a syncretic religion, another singularity of the Mosuo people. Every morning, guided by the doyen of the village, the Daboos turned round the stupa, decorated with the symbols of its diverse heritage. The days when the men made up caravans of horses are not that far off. The tea and horse route still exists. It crosses a large part of the Yunnan mountains and joins Tibet in the plains of the Yangtze, which then flows on to Shanghai. The Mosuos have used it for centuries. These horse breeders are said to have settled on the banks of the lake in the 10th century, having been chased from the northern steppes by the Mongol invasions. No written sources exist to attest to this theory, but there are sufficient similarities between Dali's little horse and those which inhabit the steppes to make this a certainty. The Mosuos are indeed descendants of the peoples of the north. The men of the clan have priority over the women as regards the use of horses, which are an intimate part of daily life, whether to transport wood, provisions, or horsemen. The lake is admittedly fertile, but you have to go into the mountains to find a good many medicinal plants or ones with religious powers, especially those which will be used in a few days' time in a ceremony to celebrate one of Sheng's nieces' coming of age. Gathering wood is a routine more than an obligation for the Mosuo women. An awareness of the harmful consequences of deforestation has today led to reasonable felling, limited to the driest trees and to branches. This is the price which has to be paid if the mountains are continue to supply the lakeside villages. The debate about casual marriage today divides the Mosuo community. The tradition is vanishing on the university campuses where the youngest are enrolling or on the streets of the big cities. In the cradle of these shores, on the other hand, it endures and few men and women question it. For Sheng's sisters, their destiny is mapped out. They will share a large part of their days and their home. You don't cut the roots from the plant, nor the fingers from the hand, is what they say among the Mosuos. Several children have now reached the age of 13, and the family is once again as big as it used to be a long time ago, which means rebuilding the old wing, which used to house the brothers and sisters of the clans Daboo, Shima. Yan, the eldest brother, supervises the work. Each piece of wood is handcrafted, and so the clan houses of the Mosuos have always been the same. The only luxury which Yam allows himself is an extra floor needed for the current number of children. One day, when there are too many of them, the clan will have to split, and one or more of the sisters will build their own clan house and in turn become the Daboo of their own descendants. Bhima knows this. She is the youngest of the sisters and doesn't have any children yet. For her, there is no question of envisaging anything other than casual marriage. Today, casual marriage is more widespread in large families. It has become a real choice. More and more young people have to leave for the city, and of course, they can't practice this kind of marriage. That's the reason why it's no longer obligatory. Casual marriage is the best way for the Mosuos. If you choose it, you don't have anything to worry about from day to day. The whole family watches over you. And we'll be in love all our lives because there is space between us, and that makes love more beautiful and stronger. When they have finished their prayer, the Daboos go around the village to chase away any bad spirits which might have been able to venture in. The lovers of Lake Lugu can sleep peacefully. They are well protected. Shima is 83 years old. She is no longer strong enough to devote herself to this ritual, and these days only treats herself to simple pleasures, like that of tobacco smoked in the pipe which her own Daboo left her, according to the tradition. Although Westerners are accustomed to believing in the sorry fate that the Chinese government has in store for these ethnic minorities, Shima does not share their opinion. For her and her family, the recent opening up of China to the rest of the world is synonymous with social progress. Before, here, it wasn't easy, you know. We didn't have as much to eat or clothes, and most people from here were very poor. Today, that's changed. We've got everything we want. But life is still a hardship which you have to overcome. That's why you have to make the right choices and make the most of what those choices can bring you. But always remember that the family is the most important thing. If there is one thing which has never changed in the Mosuo's matriarchal society, it is the family values, which have remained its foundation and its keystone. Progress has perhaps not swept through the streets, but everyone is guaranteed a peaceful life, whatever their situation, and everyone knows that old age carries respect, which is denied them in many other places. Mosuo's organization was nevertheless the subject of violent attacks at the height of the Cultural Revolution, when Mao Zedong had undertaken to unify the country by standardizing its traditional practices. Today, on a beach or a path, you might happen to bump into a couple of former lovers that the government at that time had forced into marriage, sometimes provoking the suicide of its most radical opponents. Then there are only 4 hands to accomplish the daily tasks. Can that be considered progress? A long time ago, this whole region was a valley where a boy from a very poor family lived. This boy fattened up pigs for a very rich man who never gave him anything to eat. The rich man was amazed that after several days the boy hadn't asked him for anything and didn't seem to be hungry, and so he decided to follow him. When he got to the mountains, to the place where the boy brought the pigs, he saw a gigantic fish. Every day, the boy cut a piece from the fish and grilled enormous slices of it. Every day, the fish was regenerated, so the rich man decided to send all his men with 9 oxen and 9 horses to bring the fish back to his house. He thought that in this way, he and his family would have enough to eat all their lives. But the fish was the water's son, and to avenge him, his mother swallowed up the whole valley with all the villages, and so made Lake Lugu. Only one woman escaped from the disaster, because when she saw the water coming, she leapt into a trough. She was able to stay afloat and escape. That's why on Lake Lugu, the boats are called trough boats. Lake Lugu is much smaller than its legend would have it, taking up just 50 square kilometers, which is nothing here in the heart of the immensity of the Himalayan foothills. Yet it is known throughout China, and sometimes people travel from far away to have the privilege of contemplating it. Yam knows all its secrets. Like all Mosuos, he has no difficulty switching from his horse to his fishing boat, and fish constitutes an important part of the family's diet. They say that the waters of the lake have medicinal powers which give the Mosuos a life expectancy above the average in Yunnan. In reality, it is rich in spirulina, a microalgae with numerous nutritive virtues which Westerners keen on natural benefits are desperate to get their hands on. The use of motors is forbidden in order to limit pollution, and the trough boats are handed down from generation to generation. That's some wood that won't have to be removed from the forest. It's good to get here. It's better with the horses. We'll have to make another trip. Yes, with this cold we've been having, the reserves are going down before our very eyes. The men don't do much work, it seems to me. That's because you do it so well. The household is getting ready for one of the major events in the life of the clan. In a few days, Sadabuchi, one of Sheng's nieces, will be 13 years old. The wood reserves are diminishing, but the yard of the clan house is nevertheless filled with it. In the Mosuo tradition, it is essential to have a full woodshed and full lofts. Amongst this scenery of high summits, it is not unusual for the winter to prohibit all travelling. The family and animals must never be left lacking. Shima's house is almost 200 years old. At the period when it was built, parts of the walls were in clay and the roof was made of pine planks, which have stood the test of time. Traditionally, each house had its own beehive in order to have fresh honey, and still today, a few words are inscribed to bring good luck. The interior hasn't changed either. It is the Daboo's room, which serves as kitchen and living room, where men and women have all their meals. For now, the carpenters share Yan's table and can appreciate his sister's culinary talents. Shima hasn't forgotten that yesterday's China was a lot less generous. Today, things aren't the way they were when I was young. You are carefree and you have everything you need to be happy. In my day, when we fattened a pig, we had to give half of it to the Yi, who came from other valleys. When we had 2 eggs, we had to give 1 to those bandits. They only left us the weeds. It's thanks to Chairman Mao that everything has changed. According to custom, the Mosuo women should isolate themselves when there are visitors. But this doesn't express any sectarianism. The room is the Daboo's room, and everyone else must show their respect for her, whatever their sex. The contentment which reigns during meals is a good illustration of the harmonious relations between men and women. The lovers of Lake Lugu don't play at being the strongest. Sheng and his companions have reached the summit, where they can gather the herbs which the ceremony calls for. Here we're at almost 4,000 meters, and the temperature is chilly. The peaks are also the men's private territory. Whether it's about former caravans or the tasks which currently bring them here, it is the only place where they can express among themselves the macho excesses hidden in the heart of every man, whether or not he is the product of a matriarchal society. A woman can't spend a day with you. It's impossible, because it's you who visit her, and not the other way round. For your whole life, it's the same. It's you who decide if you're going to spend a long time with her or not. I'm not sure I'll love her all my life, nor that she'll love me all her life. Love among the Mosuos is something very special. If a beautiful girl goes by, you've got all the rights. You're like a cat who sees a fish, and it's not always easy to resist. Of course, everything I say only goes for me. There are other opinions within the Mosuo community. Me, I know that if I find work in a big city, it wouldn't be of the slightest importance, even if it was very good. I could never give up my family and my life to go and live alone. Living in a big family is a real joy, and I'm really happy like that. In each family, there were 20 or 30 people, and we only used to eat once a day. We didn't know if we'd have anything to eat the next day. Out of 30 people, there were at least 6 or 7 old people who couldn't work anymore, and it's the youngsters who could go and earn a bit of money. But they didn't earn enough to feed everyone. Nowadays, families have got tiled roofs, and even the elderly manage to earn a bit of money. But you see that the family stays united and that no one has any worries about tomorrow anymore. In the mountains which overlook Lake Lugu, winter never really leaves. It is only when you get close to the lake that you feel the relative mildness, a phenomenon which has caused Yunnan to be dubbed the region of eternal springtime, since it has a large network of lakes at an altitude comparable to this. Yunnan literally means south of the clouds. The province used to be independent in the period of Nangshao's kingdom, which capitulated to China at the beginning of the 10th century. Breeding plays an important role in its economy, and a very long time ago now, the Mosuos learned to make use of the proteins which the lake supplies in great quantities in the algae. So another of the women's social roles is to undertake the harvest, which is destined to feed the pigs, which make up a large part of the diet on the banks of the lake. The lovers of Lake Lugu don't bathe in these waters. The temperature rarely exceeds 12 or 13 degrees, and over the last few years, with the development of tourism and the construction of hotels around the lake, and the lack of purification systems, the quality of the water has been dangerously affected. It used to be drinkable, but now it isn't. They say that in the past, you could see to a depth of 12 meters. In less than 3 years, visibility has been reduced to 6 meters. Progress and the consumer society, far more than political will or governments, threaten the cultural continuity of Chinese ethnic minorities. If Lake Lugu no longer operated the symbiosis which it maintains with the Mosuo people, they would rapidly disappear, or at least they would have to give up their traditional way of life. Isn't the environment essential in maintaining this tradition? After a few days' absence, which he is used to, Sheng goes back to Luksan. The only road which leads to the village is a dirt track, which the slightest rise in the waters of the lake renders unusable, a last rampart against the arrival of coachloads of tourists, which would wipe out the Mosuo's tradition in a burst of photographic shots. For the time being, like all the lovers of Lake Lugu, Sheng has to take care of his sisters. I am responsible for my nephews and nieces because that's the custom among the Mosuos. It's me who pays to send them to school and who provides for them. In accordance with the same custom, I can't live with my own children, but I have every faith in my mother's family. Personally, I really hope that this custom carries on. The Mosuos are not rich, and the sense of possession doesn't exist with regard to material goods any more than to the men or women who share their love for a night or a lifetime. The absence of the sense of possession rules out jealousy, which is here considered to be a shameful emotion. Perhaps that is what has allowed the Mosuo society to live through the ages. Conflicts arise from the moment there is something to share. In this social schema, there is nothing but giving. Sheng's sisters have carried out many tasks since he left a few days ago, but no one would dream of reproaching him for anything. The Mosuo women like to say that the men are right to rest during the day so that they will be more valorous when night falls. Sheng brings the few ingredients which were missing from the feast: medicinal plants, salt, and cheese. The spoils are scanty in view of the length of his absence, and everyone knows that the young man has passed by the clan house of his latest mistress. And that's so much the better for her. The further a man travels, the greater the prestige of the woman he comes to join. The women have spent a long time preparing Sadabuchi's ceremony. From now on, there will be 6 women in the household, and in homage to the young woman, they are decked out in their finest dress. Shima has to stay lying down in peace and quiet. So it is she, her sister's son, who will perform the ritual and recite the prayers. In Mosuo society, their coming of age is, along with their death, one of the 2 major events in women's lives. According to their beliefs, the ancestors are reborn with the children who arrive, and this milestone of 13 years guarantees them a new life. Because they are always there is no need to share out their patrimony when they pass away. The clan's property stays the same from generation to generation, and the only objective of its members is to support themselves. During the ceremony, as at every meal, the ancestors are served first. And then they are asked to watch over Sadabuchi. Her foot resting on the pig fat guarantees her prosperity. Never, they hope, will she renounce the Mosuo's traditions. I wouldn't like to dress up Chinese style, even if I was lucky enough to have a very rich fiancé. What is important to me above all is that he shares my customs. For me, casual marriage is almost something natural, and I can't imagine anything else. I was born and grew up in a traditional family. I was brought up by my uncles and aunts and my grandmother. And another way of life seems completely impossible to me. Besides, if I gave up this tradition, I know that my relationship with my family would be compromised. Young and old wouldn't understand me and would reject me. In the same way, if a girl in my family made this choice, I don't think I would forgive her. That's how it is. The lovers of Lake Lugu know how to content themselves with what is strictly necessary, because profusion is no good to them, and there is nothing either which needs to be stocked. Here, they live from day to day, and nothing provokes envy or frustration. If an old tradition has been perpetuated, it's because it's good. I don't think we need to question ours. Who cares what the others think? What's important is that the Mosuos can live as they please. It's the fight we've always fought. Stand that. The more I look around me, the more I think I'm right. Mosuo's casual marriage is real love, nothing else. And yet, the lovers of Lake Lugu, when they are no longer lovers, perhaps think of the days they have left to live, and that no love will come to soothe. the murmurs they will no longer hear, and the hands that will no longer brush against their skin nor slip into their hands. Then, so as not to let sorrow overwhelm them, they chase from their memory the women who will not be by their side. They turn towards Gunmu and pray to her.
See